I don't know. Honestly, I am not a people person. If you honestly want to know
this.
to be on TV, that's like out of my realm.
Yeah, but
Hi, welcome to MB Maple. My name is Brian Burnison. This is my wife, Mandy. We're the owners of MB Maple, a 10,000 tap maple syrup operation in Attica, New York.
so when I first pulled up, I was like, is there a store here? But this is all for your gear, right? Or do you supply other?
We supply other. We are a supplier of the maple industry and basically everything from start to finish for the little hobby guy all the way up through to the big producers.
Oh, see, I didn't know that either. So wait, so this is like the beer and wine making industry. You know, they have, I did Let's Make Wine, and then I did another one of those, you know, where they have the supply shops for the public.
Yep.
So that's what this is.
Yep.
So if I've got a small grove, then I can tap my own maple with the equipment that you're selling here.
Yep.
Okay. So all of this gear is available to the public?
Everything is available to the
That's
public.
awesome. And then do you want to show me some, what you have here?
From filter presses. This is used to filter end syrup before we put it into drums or into retail containers.
Wow.
These are bottling units, water jacketed bottler.
So do you see a lot of people taking active in it? Because everything's kind of like a maker's green.
You
know.
have seen this industry in the last 5 to 10 years with the small mom and pops, the backyard operations have exploded.
It's been a whole nother, it's almost like a sub-industry, correct? Like of your industry, but in an odd way that supports you too. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you're the top tier.
Right.
So getting other people involved is only going to kind of perpetuate.
And one of the biggest reasons why we got into selling equipment, I was a little guy at one time.
Right.
I was looking to the big guy for help. And now I'm just the opposite. I'm the big guy, and I like helping out the little 50, 100, 500 tap operations. And guys come in and ask questions, and we point them in the right direction on whatever it may be that they're looking for, from a little evaporator to a releaser. These are reverse osmosis machines here to tubing and buckets.
So that's an important point, though, is that essentially, like what you're supplying here is an active interest subset of farming, really, right? And these guys are like yourself. You guys started with, what'd you say, 600
We started
taps?
with 675 taps ourselves. My dad's been in this since 1963. I am now the second generation. My kids are the third.
Wow.
So.
And your kids know that this is kind of like, right? You're kind of teaching them the business.
My kids are very active in this business, from doing woods work to the everyday operation that happens here at the sugar house.
And that was the same thing that your dad did with you, right? I mean, kind of.
Oh, yeah. Come weekends, we didn't have a choice. You went to the woods.
Yeah.
When it was syrup time, it was, you went to the woods. And I've got an older brother and 2 older sisters. I was really the only one that really took a major interest in the business.
Are they still around here?
Yep. You got different levels of evaporators, from a little hobby guy that's going to go out and tap 25 taps to the next size up. This one will handle about 150 taps.
Holy cow. And then is that pretty much like, how many would we get out of like 150 taps, like as bottles go?
Running non-vacuum, doing buckets and just line, not running a high dollar vacuum system.
Right, like this one here.
Like this guy here, this is a releaser. All your lines come in, and we draw artificial vacuum on this to help evacuate the sap out of the lines.
Okay.
On 150 taps, you're probably going to make somewhere around 40 to 50 gallons of syrup.
Wow, that's sizable though. You know what I mean? And for trees, I mean, basically, what are you looking at as far as like a grove of, like for? Do you know what I mean? Like you need like a sizable amount of trees for something like that, right?
And then like with us, myself, we tap 4 different woods. The furthest I go is 22 miles from home.
That's pretty far, actually.
And we're tapping right now, about 300 acres of woods.
Holy cow. And this is with just minimal crew, too.
Right.
So
So basically, I do all the woods work. My kids and my wife help in the woods.
Right.
And from that point forward, I do all the vacuum checking. I haul all the sap in. Unfortunately, we're not lucky enough to have our sap run to the sugar house.
Right.
So we have to truck everything in.
So it goes to a certain
Yep,
like
we
weigh
have
station, and then
we have what they call pump stations.
Okay.
In the pump station, you're going to have a tank. You're going to have a releaser.
okay.
And you'll have a vacuum pump.
Okay. And then that will just hold the
That
tank.
holds the sap for the day. A lot of times, depending on how the sap is running, a typical day in an 8-hour day, you'll see a gallon of sap per tap. So on a
Wow.
typical day, we'll have 10,000 gallons of sap to process at the end of the
That's
day.
a lot. So your days are like intense.
Oh,
Morning till night.
There
right?
are days. We had a day last year. I have never seen sap run like that. We were averaging 3 gallons of sap in 6 hours.
Wow. What calls for that? What constitutes that?
It's all weather conditions. It just so
You get like this
happened.
confluence of perfect weather.
Yep, it was the perfect day. It got down to 28 the night before. We need to freeze it and thaw in cycles. That's what makes the sap run.
So when you get those, then you're in good shape.
Yep.
Right.
And the next day it was right up about 42 degrees. It was sunny. There was a high pressure over us.
Wow.
And I ain't ever seen sap run like that. It was unreal.
Oh, that's awesome.
I hauled sap for 24 hours straight.
You're like, I'm done.
Right. But those are the days we live for.
Yeah. It's your business. Here, let me. So now, what are we looking at behind us here? These boxes.
In the boxes are saddles.
What's a saddle?
So what we use these for is in a main line system. All of our carrier lines are called lateral lines of 5/16.
Okay.
This will get hooked onto a main line.
Okay.
Our 5/16 would come in and drop the sap into the carrier line.
I see. So it's like a junction point,
Yep.
then, essentially. And there's just one standard size, or are these all different
They're all
sizes?
different sizes. These are all main line specific. Like this one here is good for 3/4 inch main line.
Okay.
And we carry them all the way up to 2 inch.
You do, and that's dependent upon the flow, right? Like
depending
the size
on-
of the tree, or
Depending on the number of trees in a woods. When we put a tubing system in, which you'll see later, everything is dependent on how many trees are in a woods, the distance that you're pulling. 3/4 inch main line is good for 250 taps, so if there's going to be 500, then we upsize it to the next size bigger, which is 1 inch. And we run typically a wet and a dry system, so we're carrying 2 lines.
Okay.
The bottom one is a wet line, that's where all your sap is. The
Okay.
top one is strictly for air.
I see, because you have to get that to move.
We have
right.
to have the air,
It's the
the
cyclical
vacuum.
nature of the vacuum, right?
Yep.
You have to pump the air to it to get it to move out,
Yep.
right?
We're actually drawing a vacuum, so you're actually taking that vacuum or that line to a negative pressure.
Okay, and then that's feeding the wet line,
Yep.
and then that wet line goes to the holding tank, and
Yep.
goes right, and then from there you truck that. So you pump from that tank into
Into our truck, and then we truck everything back here
Wow.
to this location.
and then throughout the field. I mean, the woods. There's got to be just lines everywhere, right?
Miles.
Yeah.
Miles.
So how do you keep? Do you have like a skip, or is it all just in your head? I
It's
mean,
all in your head.
That's
When
crazy.
we
300 acres, you said, right?
we go out and we look at a woods. We're going to be setting up another woods this upcoming spring after this season. We're hoping for about 4,000 more taps in it.
Wow.
And we will go in and spend about a week in there laying it out to where we want the main lines.
Right.
And how the 5/16 is all going to get run and where the pump house is going to sit.
So after doing it for so long, do you kind of just see it in your head, like when you look at a grove or a
Yeah,
a woods,
it basically,
I
it
keep calling
comes,
it a grove, but it's a woods. But when you see it, you kind of can see the layout of.
you really look at the lay of the land, and we have sight tubes that we look through that'll give us elevation drops, and we shoot the elevations in there, and everything we try to keep on a 2% grade from the tank out through the woods. That helps carry all the sap down to the tank.
Wow, that's awesome. And then what are the brushes here and all this? Is this just ways to prep?
Just cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
They're flue brushes for washing pans.
And so all this gear is I mean, what's the smallest size that you have for, like, if I came in and I had like 10 acres, you can accommodate somebody for that.
I can accommodate somebody from 1 tap to 50,000 taps.
Awesome. Do you see a lot of people just doing 1 or 2 just to kind of be curious of the process, or?
They typically will go out and they'll start with about 5 taps.
Right.
And it's a fever. Once you tap 5, it turns into 100.
Really?
And we get guys that come in and I'm only ever going to tap 5. Yeah, well.
You're not going to do it.
Come next year, they're back in here and they're looking for bigger stuff and more supplies.
So, and then what do you, is it like a more of an exclusive line that you have that you represent, or?
Right now, we are exclusive to DSD.
Okay.
We are actually going away from being exclusive and being a corporate-owned store to independent.
What was this again? What were these?
Filter press.
Filter press. And yes, and what is a filter press?
A filter press takes out all the sediment out of the syrup as it's a finished
Cleans
product.
it up.
Cleans
Yeah.
it up, purifies it.
So it's all a series of filters, and that's what we're looking at here?
Yep.
Like these are the filter series?
Yep.
And then as they get gummed up, you can kind of take them out and clean them, or?
So what it is there's 2 papers that sit on either side of this plate.
Okay.
As the syrup comes through, we run what they call diatomaceous earth
Okay.
in it. That attracts all the particles and they build up in this cavity.
I see. And then it's the more, because that one's got a 6.
Yep,
next
this
to
is
it.
just a small guy
And you can
for...
keep adding those, right?
Yep.
And are there different areas of the country, or maybe different
Nope,
areas?
they're all the
They're
same.
all standard?
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's just an industry standard.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask that too about cleaning the syrup, because it can't come out like that. I mean, clean. It's basically.
Nope. Yeah, when it comes out, it's got particles in it.
Sure.
You're basically taking out what they call sugar sand. And
But this happens later in the process. This isn't directly off of the first line, right? This happens.
Yep. As soon as it comes off the evaporator,
It does,
before we put
okay.
it in a stainless steel drum, it gets filtered.
Okay,
Then
so-
as we pull it out to rebottle it, it'll
Right.
get refiltered again.
Now, is this new technology, or has this been around for a long time? as far
Filter
as-
presses have been around a long time.
It is.
There's a lot of industries that use them. Winemakers use them. Distilleries use them.
So this is the same exact cleaner, filter
Basically,
product, yeah.
they're made a little different for the wine and the distillery end of it.
Right, but the same
But
process.
they're basically the same process.
Okay. And then, so we've got these, and then this is what? Bottler?
This is a bottler. So
And then-
once you refilter it, it goes into the canner,
Right.
and this is where you'll do your final canning.
Now, these are what?
These are electric extractors and releasers.
Okay.
These are what all your lines come into out in the woods.
Oh, wow.
These are vacuum pumps.
Okay.
These are what you use to draw the artificial vacuum on these releasers. If you're gonna run a big woods like what we're running, we have one woods with 3,600 taps in
Wow.
it. This would be the pump that we're running. This
Okay.
pump's about 7,000.
Holy cow. Okay, so yeah, you can't leave that out in the woods. Right?
No.
Yeah.
Everything's inside.
locked down in a building. It's a little enclosure. What's this DSD Stars machine up top here?
This is a cream machine for making maple cream.
Oh, wow. Okay,
So once we take syrup and cook it down, then we will put it in that cream machine to make cream.
I see. That's got to be delicious, actually. Maple cream, is that an older product too, as far as like traditional, or?
Cream has been around as long as I've been around.
Maple cream? Yeah, I honestly have never really heard of maple cream.
And we make a variety of products. Candy. These are hard candy. These are actually made out of Canada. We don't make these. We buy them in and resell them.
But the ones on top are yours, right?
The molded sugar, we make all that. Everybody is going back to they want to know where their food is coming from.
Yep.
They want farm to table. They want to know what's in their food, where it's coming from, how it's grown. We are actually a certified organic facility.
You are? Oh, congratulations.
We are also New York State
Wow.
grown and certified.
So that's both. You guys got both certifications then. But that's got to help your business exponentially because now you've got people. That's like a gold stamp of approval.
That
really.
New York grown and certified sticker right there means a lot.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people want to know that it is coming from New York. They are, well, we have a lot of people that we deal with. We deal with a distillery out of Buffalo Distilling.
Okay.
They have to use New York product.
They do.
So with having a New York grown and certified sticker,
Right.
they know that their product is made right here. We are certified in the state.
Makes all the difference.
It makes a
honestly.
big difference.
You know, and it is farm to table. Our awareness of where products come from. The assumption, I think, a lot of times with products like this is that it's a bottle. So where's this coming from? You don't
Right.
really know. So you have to do something like
Here you've got 4 grades. You've got a golden, which is your highest grade.
Okay.
This is an amber,
Okay.
and this is a dark.
Okay.
And there is one more above that is a dark robust that we don't typically bottle.
So what would constitute a dark robust as far as like because what's causing that color variant in that?
It's the start of the season to the end of the season.
Oh, is it clear at the start?
At the start of the season, you make more fancy, golden.
Okay.
And as time goes on, bacteria, weather conditions, that all plays a role into how dark your syrup will get.
But that's actually a beautiful color, and I didn't know this. I didn't realize there was like a variance between what you get at the start of the season and what you get at the end of the season. So that's just a richer flavor.
The darker the flavor, the more maple flavor that is going to have. Years ago, everybody wanted golden and amber.
Right.
Now the tides have changed. Everybody is more looking at the dark and the extra dark.
Well, that's more almost like the craft beer type of thing too.
Right.
You know, this is a whole subset. That's why I think it has the ability to diversify itself as a natural market.
Yep.
Because people are really interested in these type of products, and you can diversify this probably for decades now at this point, right? And figure out like different type of product lines and different ways to brand it and different ways to market it.
Well, it's even 5 years ago, I would have never thought that our syrup would be getting used in a distillery.
Right.
They are making a mix of cocktails with it. They make a maple martini, which people love.
I've never heard of a maple martini. It's probably awesome.
Stop at Buffalo Distilling.
Yeah. Did they make it with your product?
Yep. We send them on average about 5 gallons of syrup a month.
Wow.
Is
Holy
what
cow.
they're going through.
Yeah. And everybody knows that this is where they're getting there.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Those are beautiful.
And in return, we started using their bourbon barrels, and we started making a maple bourbon. So we actually take our syrup hot off the evaporator, put it into bourbon barrels, and let it age for 6 to 12 months.
That's
and then
really
we pull
cool.
it back out, and it's got now that syrup has then got a bourbon
because
flavor.
it's got that the barrel is just saturated with that bourbon, so it's got like a layer of that bourbon taste in it.
Yep.
Oh, that's gotta be fantastic.
People have gone crazy
Where did you
over
come
the
up
bourbon.
with? Is that your?
Nope. There were several guys that started it. Nate Bissell from Bissell Maple Farms out of Ohio was the actual first guy that started that.
That's a great idea, actually, when you think about it, right? Because it infuses the maple with whatever you want.
And now you go to the store shelves and you see a lot of infused, cinnamon infused, vanilla infused. A lot of our syrup, we retail about 40%. We retail about 40% of what we make. We deal with a couple of big distributors, Del Lago Casino, Turning Stone Casino. They are using our syrup in their restaurants. Just carry different sizes. Right. Some people prefer glass. Some people prefer plastic.
The jug and right. Oh, that's nice. And then what other products do we have in here, real fast? We have.
We have a maple barbecue sauce that is made by Werschlegel's Naples Maple. We buy this in. We do not make it. They're friends of ours.
But you think maple barbecue's got to be fantastic because it's got that syrupy, like sticky.
That
like
stuff right there is top shelf. We carry New York State Maple. Does a variety of different products. They do a black maple tea, an herbal maple tea,
nice
maple coffee. and we carry them.
And I already do that. I put maple in my tea all the time. Yeah, and I like it a lot. It's way better than anything else.
Honey, we carry the honey too.
Oh, you do?
Then if you really like maple and you want your house to smell like it, we carry maple candles.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you guys just go out and find this stuff at trade shows, or?
Most of the stuff, like the candles, come through our distributor.
Okay. I love the granulated. I think that's a great idea, honestly. I mean, that's a product line, I would think, almost in and of itself, right? That you're going to find generations like gravitating to, because it's not processed, right? I mean, it's processed to a degree because you have to extract the granule, right, out of the maple.
What we do is to make granulated sugar, we reheat it, we cook it down, and then we take it out off the stove, and then you put it in a big mixer and just let it mix.
So it's completely pure.
It's completely pure. Everything we do in
Now, this room you said is new, right? Relatively new?
The whole building's new.
The whole building's new. So when did you build it?
We built this building in October of 2018.
And you did. This was you.
Yes.
You said Amish built it.
We had an Amish crew put the shell of it up for us.
And then you guys finished.
And then we finished everything off.
I mean, and this is you can pump out some product in here for sure, right?
It's a 3,500 square foot building.
Wow. And then the star of the show is this puppy.
Yep.
So this, to me, kind of represents, like, it looks like it's state of the art. It is, yes.
This is a state of the art, top of the line. You can't get anything better than this evaporator right here. When we're up and running full tilt, we're making about 80 gallons finished product, finished syrup per hour.
Wow.
On any given day, we'll process somewhere between 15 and 20,000 gallons of sap.
Holy cow.
For the year, we're somewhere between 250 and 300,000 gallons.
Do you dream of maple syrup?
I pretty much eat, sleep, and breathe maple syrup.
You got to publish 1,001 uses of maple syrup, right? And now, where was this made? Was this made in Canada?
This was made in Canada.
Did you have to put? Was it obviously? Was it assembled and shipped like this, or was it?
Everything comes in pieces. So this, from the blue part down, is considered your arch.
Okay.
And then your flue pan, your hood, and your front on this machine has got 3 individual pans. These are your syrup pans.
Okay.
This is where the final product will come out.
I see.
Right now, this machine is set up with 2 auto draw-offs. So this is a reverse flow system.
Okay.
I can come in here and go through the pans this way, and it will come out here as a finished product.
I see.
As we run longer days and longer hours, especially towards the end of season when the syrup starts to get a little darker, we need to switch the flow in the pans to help keep the what they call niter buildup.
So it's you're just switching to keep the consistency and the cleanliness of the product, that type of thing?
Basically to keep the pans clean.
I see.
When you boil, you get a product called niter that builds up on the pans.
Is it just like useless byproduct?
Yeah, what it is basically calcium that's coming out of the ground through the sap.
Oh, okay.
And that will actually bake onto the pans.
Oh, you don't want that to, right.
So we reverse the flow in them so it helps keep that buildup even.
So in here
is where everything starts. When we haul a load of sap in, we back the truck up, everything gets unloaded through the unload pump. We meter everything so we know what every woods is doing for production. If we have one woods that is down in production, we try to look for why it is down in production.
Okay.
Whether it would have been a down vacuum pump or something like that. Everything is filtered, and then it goes out to a storage tank, a 6,000 gallon storage tank outside. And then we bring everything back in, and it then comes over through the piping over to the reverse osmosis or short-term RO. This guy here is the workhorse of the operation.
It is. The footprint on this, for being so pivotal to what you do, is actually quite small. So this pumps out like a ton of product.
This machine here is actually half the size of the machine that I need to keep ahead of that evaporator.
Oh, okay. So you need a bigger.
I need a bigger one.
Okay.
Probably next year you'll probably see one that's double the size.
Wow.
This machine right now processes right around 2,000 gallons of sap an hour.
That's a lot.
So we take it from 1.8, whatever it's coming out of the woods,
Right.
and we jump it up to 20% concentrate.
Holy cow.
From there, it goes up to that holding tank
Okay.
in the milk tank, and then from the milk tank, it comes back down through the series of pipes above your head,
Gotcha. So this is running.
and that comes down and feeds the evaporator.
I see.
This evaporator actually has a dual preheater in it.
Well, so that's a very, very complex piece of machinery in there.
So here we got the preheater. All the sap comes down, comes through these tubes.
Okay.
And then once it exits here, we already have it preheated, usually right up around 180, 190 degrees.
Okay.
Before it enters the flue pan for fining.
I see. So it's processed through the top, enters the bottom tank, ready to go.
Yep.
Pretty much.
And then once it hits here, this is considered a 3-pass flue pan.
Okay.
So we run a dual preheater. So the water that is being used off of the RO, we pump through the preheater in here.
Okay.
And we warm that up to about 120 degrees. Every day this machine gets drained and washed daily.
Wow. So, I mean, that's after a long day at work, too.
If it's 2 o'clock in the morning,
You're here.
I'm here till this thing is clean. We have grown this business 7 times over in the last 7 years.
Wow. Your dad's got to be so proud, honestly. That's a
He
big
is.
deal.
Some days he shakes his head and wonders why I'm doing what I'm doing, but I do it because I love it.
Exactly.
If I didn't love doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, me too.
That's why I quit my job as an iron worker and went out and decided to go full tilt into the maple industry.